I'm thinking something like...
That was amazing.
Oh my God. People listening are like, can we know?
Yeah.
You guys.
Jeff Foxworthy.
Jeff Foxworthy, dream.
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about this all night. It exceeded my expectations.
Absolutely.
Like, I already knew it was going to be awesome. I love him.
I didn't want it to end.
He's so smart and funny, obviously, and cool. You know what I love?
What?
Southern storytellers. This kept happening. They move things on the thing. He's like,
I know. He
when
talks with your hands. He just kept making room for his
kept
hands.
moving things. I'm like, you are so Southern, bro. It's crazy.
I loved it.
It's something I'm going to look back on forever and cherish.
Yes. Y'all want to listen to this. There's wisdom nuggets all throughout the whole conversation.
Yes.
Beginning to end. So
yes.
You don't want to miss it.
Enjoy Jeff Foxworthy.
Yeah. Thank you.
You can speak now. Oh, now you're over it?
You're like, I'm done.
Got nothing to say.
You said boys don't giggle. Y'all don't giggle?
Well, not like girls do.
Oh.
Yeah, and you two have good giggles. Yeah, you do.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, no, not so much. Not like y'all do. Which is that's one of the things I adore about my wife is she has like the best laugh in the world, and it's just like music. She just has a great laugh.
I love how kindly you talk about your wife.
I adore my wife. 40 years, and between my two parents, they've been married 9 times.
Wow.
I didn't know that it was actually possible to still like somebody after more than 5 or 6 years. So it's been a big surprise.
What's the secret? People, I'm sure, ask you that when couples have been together that long. What would you say from your experiences the magic ingredient?
We talk all the time, and I tell people that wake up talking to each other, go to bed talking to each other.
Yeah.
I guess that's the secret. I just like her, and
Pick somebody you like.
well, and of course we weren't wise enough to know that it's amazing to both of us because we come from such dysfunction.
Yeah.
That we're like, oh hell, it worked. Because I don't know that we were prepared for that.
Yeah.
But she builds me up in my deficits and smooths my sharp edges, and I think I
That's a
do
good
the
way to
same
put it.
for her.
Yeah. I like that.
That's really sweet. I think I'm on my period. That almost made me cry. That's so sweet.
Well, talk about, because this is I mean, we're kind of already in it. When you say you both come from dysfunction, and you are already kind of acknowledging that puts couples in a hard place to try to figure out their own relationship because we bring that dysfunction if we haven't done work. So will you share a little bit maybe of whatever you feel comfortable with, what maybe that looked like for you and how y'all have moved through it to have a successful
Well,
marriage?
like my dad left pretty young in life. And he came from, when he was 5, his dad literally said, I'm going out for a pack of cigarettes, and never came back.
Wow.
And they found him 20 years later in another state, and he had another family. And so he left when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and had an affair with his secretary. And so I went and lived with my grandparents for a while, and then my mom moved down. And it's funny, like when a parent does that, no matter what they say, what you feel as a kid is, I wasn't worth sticking around for.
Right.
That's what you feel.
Yeah.
He went on. He ended up being married 6 times, had 1,000 affairs in between, and he died about 25 years ago in a car wreck. And we still had relationship, but it was, he just kept getting remarried. And so, like, when he left my mom and he married, I thought, well, I'm not going to like her. And I did. She was so good to us and so sweet to us. And I got to where I loved her. And then he did the same thing to her. And so, I often think I probably learned, don't put your claws in too deep. Don't get too attached because people are going to walk away from you. Right. And my mom and him were so different. My mom didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't cuss, went to church 5 days a week. Yeah. My dad drank, smoked, cuss. You could do anything at his house. Yeah. Anything. I mean, nothing was off, and so when you're a kid and you're split in time like that, it was such a mixed message, and so but I knew what that felt like as a kid. So even as a kid, I thought, I'm not going to do that to my kids. Yeah. And then I get into a job where you're on the road all the time.
Yeah.
But I guess one of the wise things I do, you either learn by having modeled example or
what not to do.
You do what not to do.
Right.
And I thought, and I had a wonderful granddad and people around me that love me. But so I started, when I knew I was going to be a dad, I started picking the brains of guys I knew that were good dads.
Oh,
and I'm
sweet.
like, he's a great dad. I'm going to ask him, what do you need to do to be a good dad?
Yeah.
And the same thing with husbands. I would look at people that had great marriages, and I'm like,
that's smart.
Like my aunt and uncle just had a fabulous marriage, and I would say to her, write down for me, what do I need to know in my 20s? What do I need to know in my 30s? And
that's so wise to do.
And she did. So
that's pretty cool.
So,
well, I think that's just smart to go to people that have come before you, that you see doing it well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even in what we do in comedy.
Yeah.
Because like the way Amber does it is totally different than the way I did it in the media stage of writing jokes is writing jokes. Same thing it was 60 years ago. But we had no social media. I made most of my big money selling records and DVDs. Nobody buys records. Nobody buys DVDs.
Yeah.
I didn't have to come up with stuff to post all the time. I didn't have to come up with a podcast. And so the way she does comedy is different, but jokes are still jokes. Being funny is still being funny. And so I did that with comics. I would pick the brains of old comics.
Yes.
And I'm really big on mentorship. Like if a guy wants to learn how to be a good dad, I want to breathe that into him. If he wants to learn how to be a good comic, I want to breathe that into him. If he wants to learn how to be a good husband, because I think wisdom is knowledge plus scars.
Oh, I like that.
It's what it's what you know, but what you need not to do, right? And so
you do mentorship, right?
Yeah.
I do a lot. Yeah.
Share a little bit about that, because I can see you being really good at that.
Yeah.
I just kind of make myself available to somebody that in one of those areas and say, hey, if you ever want to sit down and have lunch and talk about this stuff, and some guys grab it and some guys don't.
Yeah.
But it seems foolish to be this far along down the road and not turn around and go, watch out for that hole right there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I just appreciate people that did that for me.
Yeah.
I have something to say about that. So I think you were on Bert's podcast, you were talking about how you were like, oh, nobody wants to see an older guy. You're already smiling. An older guy doing stand-up. And you're like, you were like, your 20s and 30s, you peak.
Yeah.
And then after that.
Well, creatively, I think you do your best work. Not meaning you can't continue to do good work, but it's not coming as rapidly as it does when you're younger.
Why do you think that?
There's been studies on it. there's a book called From Strength to Strength, and the guy went and studied lawyers, therapists, mathematicians, writers, and he found that all of them, like between 20 and 40, they did more than half of the good work they're ever going to do.
That bums me out.
Well, but this is what the book is about, but once you get past that, you still have value, but it's a different kind of value. It's not just
Producing.
vomiting creatively. It's now you have wisdom. You become like a librarian. Like I know what not to do. I know how to get a room back if I lose them. I know, like if you have a good topic and you're running a bit by me, I may say to you, okay, you've done the hard work, you've done the setup, but you need to stay here because you only got 2 layers of jokes out of that, and there's 6 layers of jokes there. So the setup's
so
the
nice.
part where you don't get the laugh. So you have a knowledge that's still valuable. You know, in the book they say you're like a librarian. You know where everything is. You know all the stories, and so, and I think that value goes a lot towards mentorship, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is to tell somebody. Like, well, you know Andrew Stanley, right?
Andrew Stanley?
So Andrew Stanley is a young comic.
He's like, well,
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you.
Man, I should have lied. Yeah, I know him.
But his grandfather was a famous preacher. His dad is a famous preacher. He was the preacher at the church I go to. And then one day his father Andy calls me and he says, "My son Andrew wants your phone number." And I said, "Okay, why?" He said, "I have no idea, but can I give him your phone?" I said, "Sure." Well, we talk, and he said, "Can we meet for lunch? I think I want to be a comic." And he had a good job. He was working like as an accountant. But I went and met him once and then twice, and then I'm like, "Yeah, you're a comic. You got a comic mind. You're." And I understand when you're following a legacy like that, it's hard to live up to what came before. So I'm like, yeah, I'll help you with this. I'll teach you what you need to know to start. And so now he's just killing it. And he came to me 8 or 9 months ago, and he said, "I have an audition for The Tonight Show." Wow. And I said, "That's really cool." I said, "I've done The Tonight Show like 50 times, so..."
No big deal.
Yeah.
Well, but I
can
said, I said, "I can help you with this." And I said, "Send me your whole act that you're doing right now."
That's so nice.
And I went through it just like I would go through mine, and I would take like part of this idea and then put part of this. And he came over and we sat down and we went through it. And I said, "And you need to end it right here." And he goes, "Well, that's the middle of the bit." I said, "No, but it's going to get a big laugh, and you need to..." He goes, "But the tag's funny." I said, "No, trust me on this. You need to end it there." He went to the audition, and they said, "Yes, you get the show." And so a friend of mine told me later, he said, "You know, if you need to do social media, Foxworthy's not the guy to talk to. He doesn't know how to do anything." He said, "But if you need to put together a set for The Tonight Show, he's your man."
Let's go.
And so that
felt good.
That felt good.
Yeah.
It was like, because there were people that taught me things. How do you, because a TV set like that is totally different than doing a regular set. And
So it seems like that kind of thing, like being a mentor lights you up.
lights me up, yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk about that transition, though, from when you were like, "Oh, I'm producing, I got to write a new hour and go film a special," into being like, "I'm okay with being a mentor and not filming another special or doing the same thing like I used to"?
It's not always smooth.
I'm curious when you knew the moment, like when you kind of recognized this transition's here now.
So, you know, it was from the moment I started, and my story's so weird because the first night I did comedy was in a competition, not an amateur night. Some guys at work entered me in a competition for working comics, and I won.
Let's go.
The first set, the first time I was ever on stage.
That's awesome.
But my wife she was an actress at the time, had just done a project with a guy that was a comic.
Yeah.
So she and a bunch of other people came down to root for him. He was in the contest. So I met my career and my wife 3 minutes apart.
What? That's amazing.
The same night. And
So pretty much downhill from there.
but I would, yeah, right? Yeah, just kind of, so,
That was my peak.
Yeah.
but I used to tell her when I started, I said, I never want to be the old guy that's not funny anymore, because I had seen guys that were, whether it was Bob Hope on The Tonight Show or, Rodney in the last years, it was like, oh, I don't want to be that guy. So I would always tell her, tell me when
I'm not funny
when I'm
anymore?
not funny.
Oh,
And
that's so vulnerable.
because I don't want to embarrass myself. And she would always say, if you'll listen, you'll know.
She's a wise one.
She's smart.
You got a good one.
And I never, when I quit my job, I honestly thought, because I was sitting in the break room, and after I had done comedy, I was working at IBM. I wore a suit to work. And
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
It sounds more glamorous than it was. I carried a tool bag. I fixed machines that were broken. But
The suit was your choice.
no, it wasn't my choice. It was their choice. Trust me. Do I look like a suit guy? And but I was sitting in the break room, and I was seriously pondering. I'm like, nobody quits a good job like this to go be a comic. And there were three, and I'm 24, and there's three guys in their 60s sitting in the break room, and one guy was saying, I always wanted to have a hardware store. He said, I think I would have loved running my own hardware store. And another guy was like, yeah, I wanted to refinish Oak. And I thought, hell, I don't want to be sitting in this break room when I'm 60 years old saying, I wish I had tried to be a comedian. And I didn't necessarily think it would work. I didn't know enough about it, but I figured worst case, I could come back with my hat in my hand and go, I made a mistake. Can I have my job back?
Right.
And I never dreamed 41 years later I'd still be doing it. Or people would still be coming to see me. So it went by like that. It was yesterday I did it for the first time. That's the biggest surprise in life, is how fast it goes by.
Yeah.
When you're your age, you don't see it. But I was your age a couple of years ago. Not really. It was, 35 years ago. But it goes by so fast. I remember being the new kid, and now I'm the old guy, And so I think I'm going to do I was never going to do another comedy special, but I'm going to do one next year.
Really?
But the only way I agreed to do it was I said, and I didn't think they would say yes. I thought I said I wanted to do the first half of it of you showing me in clubs with note cards, working on like, this is a thought, is this funny? And come back week after week on a Tuesday night and show me adding to it and building it up. And I said, and then the last half, let's go to like the Ryman and do it as a polished
That's cool.
set. I said, because people,
You'll learn
I
from
do
that.
think people like to see behind the curtain. But to say to young comics, look, it doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It doesn't get easier. I don't get a pass, and everything I say is funny. And I said, I want to show me doing stuff that gets nothing, that dies, and I'm secure enough at this point to show me doing jokes that bomb and show me struggling to go, I know there's more here. How do I find it? And it feels like a good way to kind of put a bow on it.
Oh, I
right?
love it. it.
Yeah.
That's
so
going to be really amazing.
So you're back in the, like right now, are you like working on those jokes?
yeah,
Oh, how does
off
that
of
feel?
note cards.
How does that feel?
Well, it's how I've done it every time. I did my last Netflix special was 2 or 3 years ago, but that's how it started. And I remember thinking at the time, I want to show the process, and they weren't. They were like, no, we just want a special.
Perform.
And so that's why I kind of dug my heels in, and I talked to Nate Bargatze about this. I said, Nate, where you are right now is where I was 25 years ago, where you're hosting everything. You can't crank out specials fast enough. I said, but what people don't understand, because with music, and I tell my musician friends, if you write 4 hits, you play to your 90 because people are going to come to hear those 4 songs. Comedy's the opposite. You do a special, people go, that was funny. What do you have that's new?
Right.
And so even when, and people don't understand this about being a comic, when you walk off stage after recording a special, you're like, yes. Oh, crap. Now I'm back to, now I'm back to
I'm sweating
square
right now.
zero. Yeah.
I've never really thought about it that way. That's true.
And I said, so you don't even get to enjoy
what you just
the
created.
fruits of the good special because you're back to square one, grinding out the next one. And Nate was like, absolutely, I don't get to enjoy. I said, I didn't either, Nate. I was filming a special and I was touring all over the place and trying to create new stuff and it was happening so fast you didn't get to smell the roses. It's only now that I look back and I go, oh, wow, that was a pretty cool time because I was hosting the American Music Awards and the ESPYs and the Country Music Awards, and I had TV shows and I loved it then. I don't miss it now. I'm to a stage in life that I'm like, oh, I don't want to pedal that hard. Yeah. But if it's to create a special, it doesn't matter if you're Nate or Amber or Jeff. There's 3 different stages of careers. And that's what I want to show in this is that the struggle to create it, it's the same for everybody. It doesn't matter. Your name doesn't change that, right?
Yeah.
It's
That's
like
pretty
watching
cool.
that long Beatles special of them playing with Get Back for 11 hours and, start, stop. What about this? What about that? And then at the end of it, they're on the rooftop and they're playing it and I have tears rolling down my face going, oh my God, yeah, to see
process.
the process.
Yeah.
Well, it really honors the process.
Well,
versus
and I
just
hope-
being about
and-
that single set of jokes you're creating. You're highlighting just
I hope
a
it
comic's
does.
process, which
Yeah.
is really cool.
But that's kind of what we are as human beings, is we're not finished products. It's a process. And so the things that you're learning at 20 aren't the things you're learning at 40, aren't the things you're learning at 60. And I tell my kids all the time, I miss my 30-year-old body.
yeah.
Ah, man, I'd love to have that back. But I wouldn't trade my 67-year-old mind and soul to get that body back.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah.
I have a question about.
Well, it's a podcast. You can ask one.
My love.
Yeah. By the way, y'all, when I walked in here before they turned the mics on, they told me I can't talk.
What?
And I'm
No.
like, so I'm on a podcast where I can't talk. This ought to be interesting.
We just want to read your vibes for an hour. About the special writing, after you did your specials, did you have this moment where you were like, I'm not funny anymore. I have nothing else to say.
I've thought that at different times in my career.
And then how do you get through that?
Oh, yeah. It's sometimes I think you got to just relax. Writing is because if you're a comic, what you really are is a writer. And I know people probably ask you this. They're like, do you practice in front of a mirror? I never have practiced the performance.
Right.
It's always the material. The performance just kind of, and as you get more confident in the material, you become more animated with it or whatever. But writing is hard. I saw where Steve Martin years ago won a writing award, and he said, this means more to me than an Academy Award because writing's hard. Yeah. And sometimes it flows so fast you can't write it down quick enough. And sometimes the faucet is off. Yeah. And you sit there and go, I'm never going to write anything else. I'm done. And so this has been, it's been such a sweet and pleasant surprise once I agreed to do this thing. I'm writing as fast and as well as I ever have.
Okay.
Like, I did something last night. This is what I started to tell you, and y'all told me I couldn't talk.
Oh, not going to let that go.
Wait till we're recording.
I've never done this in my entire career. I thought of something funny in the middle of the night. And I have a pad next to my bed with a pen on it because I've learned to write in the dark because I learned decades ago, if you don't write it down, it's gone. You know, it's gone. Sometimes between the red light and the grocery store.
And you're like, that was the one
gone.
that was going to be.
That was the one that was going to make me famous. So I thought of it like at 2 or 3 in the morning, thought of it again at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And when I woke up and made coffee, it was still there.
Let's go.
And I pulled out my phone and I wrote it down. And then when my wife got up, I made her coffee and I said, is this funny? And she's heard a lot of things that weren't funny over 40 years. And she like burst out laughing. She goes, that's hilarious. And I'm like, okay, good.
I know. Yeah. Wait, so do you think that this might be your best work? Better than your 30s and 40s?
All that wisdom mixed in.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my best work, but it's work that I'm surprisingly proud of.
Oh, why surprisingly?
Well, because I thought I was past that. And some of it, I'm like, damn, this is good. This is like up there with the best stuff I've ever written. So
that's got to feel really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's freaking cool.
It's like a really sweet little surprise to go, I still kind of got it.
Oh.
But.
It's a big but.
But there's something within me that says, if it's what you think it is, maybe you should go out on this. And
I get that.
Not get. There's a guy that used to play baseball, one of my favorite all-time baseball players, a guy named Mike Smith, who played third base for the Philadelphia Phillies, fabulous, in the Hall of Fame. And for like 2 decades, my wife and I were chairman of fundraising for the Duke Children's Hospital. My brother played football at Duke. That's how we got involved in it. So Mike Smith was up there for a promo thing one time for the kids, and he finished and I finished, and he said, I'm going to grab a cab to the airport. I said, I'm flying out. Can I share a cab with you? We did. And Mike's like, now when people retire, they say, this is going to be my last year, and for the whole year people are celebrating them. And Mike Smith retired like 1 month into the season on like a Wednesday night, just like said, that's it, I'm done. And so as we're riding to the airport, I said, Mike, I said, I loved you as a ball player. I said, but you had one of the craziest retirements of all time. And he kind of smiled. He said, yeah. He said, like in the second inning of that game, somebody hit a ball to my right, and I dove, and I didn't catch it. And my entire life, up to that point, I would have caught that ball. And he said, I stood up, dusted myself off, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, your skills are starting to diminish. He said, and I decided about the 5th inning, I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to be that guy. And so I decided when the game was over, this was my last game.
Wow.
And I'm like, how good for you that you could have milked more money out of them for several more years, but you thought, I don't want to be that guy, and you walked away.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't want to be the guy that, for you 10 years from now, going, God, remember when Foxworthy was funny? You know?
That you'll always be funny. I feel like there's like I get what you're saying, and you've thought that since the beginning when you were young. You're like, I don't want to be that guy. But it sounds like there's like even now when you're like, maybe this will be the last one I do. There's like this part of you wants to do another one, maybe. If you're still kicking, why not? You know? And then there's a little
I don't want to
fear.
tip fate because, you know, you go too far.
Can you really lose your funny?
I don't, you know, and you have to understand, I'm talking to you from the old guy's perspective. Part of me doesn't want to walk away from it because I still, my comic mind still works. And I'm thinking, well, I still want to do a bit about this and I still want to do a bit about that. But there comes a time, it's like when I look at these old rock and rollers that, you know, with their hair dyed black, and I'm like, no, walk away. Just let people remember you fondly.
So it's more about how people might see you.
Yeah,
like
I mean, if I was to be honest, and I'm over the traveling. I still love the being on stage part, but I hate the airport and the motel rooms. I just hate it.
Such a little residency here in Atlanta.
Yeah. And so I tell people now, I said, the show's free. You're paying me to get on another plane and sleep in another hotel room.
Yeah.
You know? But when the lights go down and people start clapping, I'm like, I love this. I still feel that way.
Yeah, like would you, like Melanie said, like set up a residency in Atlanta, like do a, you know.
Or just have your place you like to go when you just
I'm
want to
not
get on
saying
stage and...
that I wouldn't, like Ron White did the whole big retirement tour and retired. And then like 4 months later, he's back doing stand-up. And so I called him and I said, 2 questions. Why did you retire? And why did you come back? And he was like, I was so sick of getting on planes and being gone all the time, and I couldn't do it anymore. And then I got to sitting around the house, and I'd think of something funny. And so he started going down to Rogan's Club in Austin and just playing, not like doing a... And he said, I realized when I got back in there playing that I missed it, that I loved it. And
well, do you even have to announce a retirement and be like, I'm done? Because it feels
I would
like
never do
such
that. I would never say, even if in my mind I went, that was a nice note to leave on.
Yeah.
I would never make an announcement and go, that's my last show, or that's...
Yeah. Because it seems like such a tender,
Well, I hate it,
sweet
like
spot
when
to
you
find.
see bands like Alabama. How many retirement tours? Alabama. This is the
It's a
last
marketing
tour,
stunt
you
at
know, our goodbye tour, our okay, we changed our mind, we're back tour. Okay, and I'm like,
The boy who cried retirement. It's like, come on, man.
and so I don't want to be that guy, but I think I would know. I would know in my mind this is a good place to hop off the bus and walk, and I don't think I would ever announce it.
Yeah. Well, there's so many ways to do comedy too. Like even like doing this new special you're doing feels like a good tying a bow on something, but that it's just a part of the comedy aspect. You know, I feel like there's so many other ways you can keep doing it that doesn't have to be.
Well, you can do it a lot, and I've learned that through my career. Like, and there's so many things people don't know about me. Like I have
What are those?
books of I've drawn my whole life. So I will sit in an airport and I will like sketch somebody out with a pencil, and then I get on the plane and I pull a pen out and I draw them, and then I put a funny caption on them.
What?
And so I have books of these. So I have comic friends that will come over and they'll walk in the house and go get your books. Because it's a totally different form of being funny than stand-up.
This is amazing.
Do you ever gift those to the people?
Yeah, I've gifted a couple to people.
That would be so sweet.
And and then like I invented a game about 8 or 9 years ago.
Look at you.
Called Relative Insanity, which went to #1 on Amazon, and it was all about who had the funniest answer. And so I've learned different ways to be funny.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can write like a story, or I can draw a picture, or I can make a game. And so it satisfies whatever that.
Yeah.
Because I really do think, and I think you and I talked about this on my podcast, that it's a gift. Mm-hmm. I think it's a gift from God, that some people are great audio technicians, and some people think funny, and some people are great at taking care of old people. We all have different gifts. Mm-hmm. And so you need to honor that gift. Because I don't know why my brain works like that. Do you know why yours does?
No, I've tried to stop it
Yeah.
sometimes. I'm like, please leave me alone.
But we're never fully engaged. There's like 1 or 2% of our brain
Gotta get that down.
that's looking at that going, is there something there?
Yes. Every conversation you're like
Yes.
checking out. Oh, I gotta write
Yes.
this down.
Yes. And you're, you only know what you know. You're like, and I used to think everybody's brain worked like that. And then I went, oh, it doesn't. And that's why my podcast is called A Comic Mind. It's like, this weirdo thinks the way I do,
That'd be cool, like, to maybe make, and not that you have to make everything out of your skills, but like a comic book or like some kind of comic that you know.
Maybe. I mean, I think the main ingredient in creativity is instinct. So I think when you have that instinct, let me try this. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But, that's the things that apply to this apply to almost every aspect of your life, I think. I mean, you got to have a passion for it, but you also got to work at it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't just happen. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Mm-hmm. So, well, it's true. And sometimes when you find, hey, man, I'm not doing this right, you got to ask yourself tough questions. It's like, okay, what do I need to change? What do I need to do better?
Mm-hmm. I think it's nice to find, I mean, even in my field, like if I just saw clients one-on-one all day, every day, I'd get really tired of what I'm doing versus find like I'm transitioning more into the teaching aspect of my career at this point. And it's a fun thing, but it's a renewed energy. Like I get more energy from that right now than sometimes doing the individual trauma work. I still love the trauma work, but I can enjoy it more when I have a spread out way of doing different aspects of the job. And I
think that's really being in touch with you. I have 3 therapists in the family. So,
Right.
and my wife should be a therapist, though, and she really is, but she's not technically trained. But you have to find those things that give you that energy. Mm-hmm. And I think when you hit those writer's blocks, that's why, is you're drained.
Yeah.
You're drained. And so you have to find some way to fill that tank back up. And that's why you can't force it. But that's cool that you understand that about it. And, I get energy now from the mentor thing. I don't have to be the top dog.
Yeah.
And when I was your age, I was always nice to everybody. I was always a nice guy. But I also had an ego about it going, I don't care if you work dirty in front of me. I don't care what you do. I'm going to go up. I'm going to be the funniest one of the night. Mm-hmm. Well, that's gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have to be the funniest one of the night now.
Yeah.
Because you were for 40 years.
Well, or
it's not a thing you have to have enjoyed it or said, good job, that was fun. You don't have to no, I'm the best one up there to enjoy it.
No.
Yeah.
like when I started, Leno was so kind to young comics. He would sit there at the Waffle House with you and tell you everything that he knew. And Jay saw me. We weren't even necessarily friends. He saw me, and he went back and told Johnny Carson about me, because that's was my whole goal in life, was to be on Johnny Carson. And he was just always helpful to me in my career. And then, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, Jay and I were doing a show in Nashville at the Grand Ole Opry. And Jay came to my dressing room and he said, "You know what? You should close the show." And I said, "Oh my God, Jay, no. You're Jay Leno. I'm not closing the show. And he goes, "Nah, it's Nashville, and they love you up here. You close it. I'll go first." And I thought, that's really cool of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember running around the house yelling and screaming when I found out I was going to open for Jay Leno downtown here at the Civic Center. And that was such a I was going to be his opening act. And, I did 15 minutes and he did 2.5 hours. But so for the thing to go to where Jay was cool with opening for me, I thought, that's so secure on his part,
But the feeling of knowing that was something really simple for him, but knowing what a big deal it is for
my God.
somebody. I love being able to do that.
And I do that now with people.
Yeah.
It's like going out with Leanne Morgan, and the first night she went first, and I watched her. I said, "Leanne, they're here to see you. You're killing. Let me go first the rest of the time." And it's like celebrating where she is. I didn't have to have that anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't have to close the show.
Yeah.
When we did the Blue Collar Tour, I did. I was like, all right, I'm the dad here, so but it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
I have 2 questions, kind of in the same vein. One, going back to when you were talking to Nate and where he's at now, did you have any advice for him in that moment? And then my second question is, do your kids come to you for advice, or are they like, yeah?
No, they do.
Nice.
And the only advice I could give Nate was ride the wave. Ride the wave. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to enjoy it, because I know, well, that sounds terrible. Well,
you will be miserable.
And I don't, but it's happening at such a rapid rate, you can't soak it in.
Yeah.
But you're the it guy, But I also know Nate has a wife and Nate has a daughter. And even though he's red hot career-wise, he's not seeing his wife as much as he wants to, and he's not seeing his daughter as much as he wants to, and he's certainly not going and relaxing.
Yeah.
But I told him it's not going to last forever, because I was you, and it happened, and then it went away. Kenny Rogers said to me one time, he said, "You know what the best careers are? You're like a lava lamp." He said, "You heat up, and then you go away and cool off. And then you come back and you heat up, and then you go away and cool off."
I like that.
He said, because nobody can stand in the heat for too long.
Yeah.
It will burn you up.
True. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's pretty wise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I love that.
And then with your kids, you give them a lot of advice?
Yeah. I mean, I try to let them ask for it.
Yeah.
I try, I've always told them, I said, life is choices and consequences. And you got the choice to do things the easy way, but if you want to do it the hard way, you can suffer the consequences of it. And it's hard, but to sometimes let them suffer the consequences of it is the wisest thing you can do, because those are the best lessons.
Yeah.
Those are the lessons. When they leave a scar, you learn the lesson usually.
Yeah.
What was it that you said? You said wisdom is like the
Wisdom is knowledge
and
plus scars.
I love that.
That's so nice.
Gonna remember that one. I really like it. It's true. It really, you've got to embody the the knowledge you're picking up.
Mm-hmm.
In that.
Well,
through
and you
going
think
through
about
some of
it,
that,
if you touch a hot stove and you burn your hand and you've got scars on the end of your fingertips, you learn real quick, don't touch the hot stove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
If
got the
someone's
scars
telling
to
you not
prove
to,
it.
you're like,
Yeah, but
But
you're telling
what
you
would
not
it
to,
really
and you're
feel
like,
like?
is it really that hot? I was kind of that guy with a lot of things. Don't step over this line. You're like,
oh, I know you wanted to ask about the men's group.
Oh, well,
right?
don't you run a men's group? You do it, with the mentorship. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, like that. I just love that kind of stuff and just what's been most meaningful for you
I met a
in
guy that was that worked in a homeless shelter, and he kept inviting me down there. And I kept figuring, what does he want? He wants me to either do a concert and give them the money. I mean, it's a homeless shelter. Or he wants me to do their commercials. And I kept saying, what do you want? And the first time I went down there and met him for lunch, we were eating in the shelter, and this kid sat down at our table. Now, we're in downtown Atlanta. This kid's 21 years old, totally healthy, and he's in a homeless shelter. And as a comic, I ask everybody, "What's your story? What's your story?" Kid sat down. Jason, I said, "Jason, what's your story? Why are you here? Why the hell, And Jason said, "Well, I had a brother, and it was my brother, my mom, and my dad. And when I was 11, my mom committed suicide." He said, and 2 or 3 years after that, my brother killed himself. And it was me and my dad. And my second year of college, my dad committed suicide.
Wow.
He said, and I just got to the point where I could not hurt anymore, and I started smoking crack. And I'm sitting across the table, and I'm thinking, dude, I would have started smoking crack. How does anybody deal with that? Well, now he's not just a homeless guy on the street. He's a person with a name, and there's a backstory to why he's on the street. And it just sunk in. It was like, oh, there's a backstory to this. So the guy that invited me down there, I went 2 or 3 times, and he said, you keep asking me what I want. He said, I'm going to tell you what I want. He said, these guys have never done a small group Bible study. He said, I want you to take 12 of these guys and lead a small group Bible study. And I'm thinking, there's 6.5 million people in Atlanta, and you can't find anybody more qualified to do this than me. But there's consequences to saying yes. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And when I first started going, they wouldn't show up or they wouldn't stay awake. So I started going by Chick-fil-A, and I get Chick-fil-A biscuits and donuts. And I'm like, if you'll come to the study, you get a biscuit and a donut. Yeah. So they started coming. And what I learned over the course of time, because most of them were in addiction, but the addiction, whether it was alcoholism or drugs, that wasn't the problem. That was just a symptom. Yeah. And as you got to learn their stories, like Jason, almost every one of them, something bad had happened to them early in life. Some kind of physical abuse, sexual abuse, abandonment, something. And so the addiction was just numbing the pain. And and to me, that was, I could identify with, a lot of them were daddy issues, just abandonment or whatever. And I said to them, well, let me tell you what I did. As I said, I really wanted a dad, and I didn't have a dad. And I wanted the dad that was going to be there every day, the dad that was going to love me, whether I screwed up or did great or whatever. And I said, so finally one day I just said, God, you're here every day and you love me, whether I do bad or good, I'm going to let you be my dad. And that's all. It's just passing that on to those guys. It's like, instead of doing the other stuff, maybe try this, because you are loved, and that's what you learn as a comic. As a comic, you're always thinking, what do we have in common? Even though you and I have never met, we've got a ton of stuff in common. And so, well, it's the same way with human beings. Every human being wants to be significant. Everybody wants to have somebody love them, and everybody wants to have somebody to love. And what I found over the course of time, and it's so funny because from when I started that, some of my best friends now are the guys that were in my first group. But they got out of addiction. They reconciled with families they hadn't talked to in 20 or 30 years. They got jobs. They got their own place. They got vehicles. And they got their life back. And so, and you realize I'm just fortunate that I could just as easily have been them. I'm just fortunate that it didn't get that far. And that was probably part of my dad's issue. It made it easier for me to forgive my dad because, well, you got hurt young in life. You got abandoned young in life. And so because of that, you weren't able to be the kind of dad that I needed you to be. But I'm going to wipe that slate clean, and I'm just going to love you because you're my dad. And, you know, it's funny because as a therapist, it's probably way too simple. But the older I get, I realize we make everything way too complicated, and the answers are almost always simple.
Yes. Every time I talk to her, I find that. I'm like, oh.
Do you know what I think the key to life is? The biggest lesson in life is this.
Letting go.
Let it go.
Yep.
Let it go. And I will find, it's a podcast, you can't see me, but I'm sitting here with a clenched fist and I just open my hands. Yeah. And so I started doing that like if I'm driving. I used to be the guy, if you cut me off, I would chase you for 5 miles on your bumper.
Especially in Atlanta. How
can you? And now if somebody does that and I'm in the car, I will take one hand off the wheel and I'll clench it and I go, let it go.
Oh, that's so nice.
Let it go.
I like that.
If somebody says something and you get really pissed off, it's like, let it go. Yeah. You're not in control anyway. Let it go. And I really think at this stage in life, I'm much more peaceful because I've learned that.
Absolutely.
That's look at you, Lean, but yeah, you said that. Let's go. Yeah. Okay, so the last question we like to ask is, if you were watching a movie of your life, you're the main character, you're watching yourself right now, what would you be yelling at the screen at yourself?
It's going to be okay.
It's
going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I think we fight adversity so much, but from my life experience, actually human beings handle adversity much better than we handle success. I have seen success screw way more people up than adversity. And
that's interesting.
And I think that's, you know, the friends that I have, the really close friends that I have are the friends that I had growing up. And because they will look at me and they'll go, you're full of shit, stop. But you need people in your life to do that. Elvis needed somebody to go, knock it off. Quit wearing the cape and the sunglasses. It's daytime, you know. Knock it off. You're acting like an idiot. You need people that love you enough to speak that truth in your life. And what happens when people get successful is they start surrounding themselves with people that want to be part of that success, and so they don't do that to them. They only tell them yes.
Yeah.
And so the adversity is not necessarily a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
That's really
Helps
nice.
us grow.
Yeah. Right.
What?
Helps us grow.
Well, and I'm still learning. Like I just talk to a therapist, and I don't do it regularly, but I've done it several times in my life because I found myself. My mom's 89, and she just went on a cycle from hard-headedly falling in the floor, going in the hospital, going into rehab, going back to, and just over and over and over again. And she's an hour away, and so every time she'd fall, every day I'm driving back and forth an hour to check on Mom. Then she's in the hospital, and you're driving back and forth, and I just got to the point one day where I was driving home, and I was just so deflated and I was so depressed. I'm like, I've just lost my life. This is all I do all day, every day. And my sister-in-law is a therapist, and I said, recommend somebody for me. I need to talk to somebody about this. And they said one little thing that made, and the thing they said was, two things can be true at once. You can love your mom to death, and you can be weary of having to take care of her. And I went, oh, so it's okay that I feel like this right now.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad son.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad kid. Well, hey, 67, I learned something new. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. A lot of things can be true at once.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're the coolest, Jeff. Do you know how cool you are?
I'm really not.
You
I'm
are
not.
though.
I've really enjoyed our conversation.
It's been so
I'm sad
nice.
we're
Well, I
done.
feel like it's just me talking. So,
Well, you're the guest.
And I'm
I know comic
Trust me, our
podcasts.
listeners know a lot about us.
Yeah. They've heard enough of
You're
us.
the
too.
highlight. Yeah.
Yes.
well,
So grateful.
But you know, I'm not anybody special. I grew up in a little town with a dirt yard, you know, and I'm like, it's kind of makes me laugh that at this stage in life somebody would be coming to
Honored.
me to say, what what have you learned, or what?
You got a lot of scars
Yeah.
and wisdom to pass on.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I am interested. I think that's important as you age. I'm interested in so many things. Most comics I know are like big readers and things, and so I've tried to be not to ever reach the stage of just going, all right, that's it, I'm throwing in the towel. I still like learning stuff. I like learning stuff about me. You know.
Well, that's when you say you sat down with that gentleman and asked him what his story was, and that's what you like to start with. Like,
Yeah.
this was our version of that, because there's a lot of people that are going to listen to what you just shared, and it's going to resonate and pass that on in a different way than what you maybe get to do
Yeah.
day to day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So grateful.
Something different.
yeah. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing with us.
And then tell people, plug whatever, your podcast,
I'm on Sirius XM, 97, Jeff and Larry's Comedy Roundup, me and Larry the Cable Guy. Larry's kind of like going to the fair. That's the way I describe him. After 5 minutes, you're going to feel better about your own family. I tell everybody, go to the
That's
fair.
so funny.
Go to the fair once a year because you will feel better about your own family. And then I have within that radio station, I have a podcast called A Comic Mind, where I go when I find a comic that I like, then I want to talk to them. So Amber was on my
really
podcast, and then and as I was researching her, I'm like, oh, you got a podcast, and I said, hey, if you ever, I like people's story. I like people. You know, people always come up to me in the airport. They go, I know you hate this. I go, I really don't. I like people.
Yes,
I do.
right?
I like people's stories. You know,
Can I tell you, when I found out that I was going to be on your podcast, when you were talking about running around the house when you got to open for Jay Leno, I was running
No, you
around.
weren't.
Yes, ask my husband. Running
Are
around the
you
house.
serious?
I was like, ah! Yes, truly, I was so excited.
You were so cool about it. You
Oh,
were like,
thank you. My bottom half was shaking.
a tingling in your nether region.
Exactly. So thank you so much. I mean, this is just, you're so cool, and I'm so grateful that you came.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't. My kids would tell you I'm so not cool, but
Well, you were one of the big comics when I was growing up.
yeah.
Because I'm an 80s kid. And so, like, I got to, you were, like, my dad's favorite.
No.
Like, loved
Really?
it. Yeah. And I'm from Alabama, so we listened to you guys.
Well,
like, as far as my awareness of comics, there was, like, you, and then I knew, like, Eddie Murphy.
well, and and people got to know me in those early days because of the redneck jokes, because they were one-liners, so they were
Yes.
easy to remember, they were easy to retell, you could get a laugh, and I'm so grateful for them, and I loved them, but I didn't want to be just that guy,
Right.
And so I probably haven't done them on stage in 15, 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And so as I was getting is I'm like preparing to do this special. There's a story about me and my grandson, and the natural joke within it was a redneck joke. And so as I'm working on that bit, I said it on stage the other night, and then I said, if you, and the whole crowd said, you might be a redneck. And I went, oh, wow, I hadn't done those on stage in 20 years. And so I thought, you know what? So at the end of this special, I'll tell that story about my grandson. And then when they say that, I go, you know what? I hadn't done those in 20 years, but I still love them. And so I'm going to close it with some brand new.
Oh, my goodness.
So that
Yeah.
brings it full circle and ties the bow.
You are an artist, sir.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
That's cool.
She's such an encourager. I love that about her.
She's a hype woman.
Yeah,
there ever was one.
and I will say that like the little town I grew up with, I tell this story often, but it's where Chick-fil-A started.
Nice.
We had the only Chick-fil-A on the planet Earth till I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
Well, the guy that started Chick-fil-A, Truett Cathy, he was just a wise man. And I remember he said to me one time, he said, Jeff, he said, you know how to tell when somebody needs encouragement? And I was like, no, Mr. Cathy. He said, if they're breathing, he said, everybody needs encouragement, and it doesn't cost you anything to give it to them. Well, out of all the things in my life, that stuck with me. And so like when I walk into a room, it's like, who needs encouragement in here? Go over there and tell them you like their shirt. Go over there and tell them their hair looks really cool or whatever.
Right? It changes their whole day.
Well, you don't know,
good at
but it
Thank
might.
you.
But you're a natural encourager.
Aw.
You breathe that into people, and if everybody would do this, it would be a pretty nice place to
Change
be.
the world.
Well, because
Truly.
it disarms a critical spirit, right?
Yeah.
If you're
Yes.
looking for a way to encourage somebody, now you're not going to be critical of them.
Yeah. Oh,
Or even competition.
Yeah.
It's in every field, but I'll notice like therapists seem surprised when I'm like, let me help you. Like, yeah, do this. Do this. Like, and they're like, what?
you want to help me?
You're not trying to compete with me? I'm like, no, there's plenty to go around.
Yeah,
Right.
there's,
Lots of people
there's
need help.
lots to go around.
Can I already know you're a good guy, but I want to say before we go, the moment I knew where I was like, wow, this guy is an exemplary human is when on Georgia and UT Day, I texted you and I said, go Vols. And you said, dang. and then we lost really bad. And you didn't say go Dogs back to me. And I thought that was really kind. You just let it hang, which hurt worse.
because I know the funk I go into when Georgia loses.
Thank you so much.
And I'm like, she doesn't need the salt in the wound.
But I know how
I know,
a little
man.
tempted.
Well, yeah, but
you knew I'd had enough that day.
my wife has a friend that's an LSU fan, and like every time they would beat Georgia, she would,
Yeah.
you know, and she would come back with who dat, and I'm like, that's just mean. I'm like,
Truly.
I'm on the bridge, and you're like
I know.
pushing my back.
Blowing the wind.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'm not going to do that to people. I know what it feels like to love your team, and then they lose, and you're all bummed out.
Yeah. And you're wearing the colors.
Yeah.
Especially UT orange. That's not.
Look at me.
That's a nice color, though.
Yeah.
UT orange and you lose, you're just like, oh, God.
Yeah.
It's a hard, bright color to wear right now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for coming.
You're welcome.
You're the
Thanks
best.
for having me.
Of course.
I was
Been
honored
great.
that you asked.
Oh,
So.
the best. Thank you for listening to I'm Fine, It's Fine podcast.
I'm Melanie Reese. You can follow me on all platforms at Melanie Reese, LMFT, or Trauma Therapy Nashville.
And my name is Amber Autry, and you can follow me everywhere at Amber Autry Comedy. And if you're not already a subscriber, you can do so for only $5 a month via all the links in our bios.
Thanks for listening.